Hi, how's it in the name of Christ? It's Garabo. Yeah, it's me. I hope you're good. I hope you're peachy. I hope you're Stella. And I hope you're in a neat little bunch. Yeah, it is what it is. Okay, what's up? It's the 27th of December 2023. Hello, it is a Wednesday. It's a Wednesday. Didn't work out Monday or Tuesday, and I'm not gonna work out today, tomorrow, and Friday. I'm just taking a break for a week. Why? I'm just overcome by a lazy bone because of the holiday season. So we'll see what the Malva pudding does to my body. We're just gonna have to watch it do a thing. Yeah, because at this point I don't care. My biggest desire is to see this fade, but I think it's fading. Whatever. I get to cough. Caveats. Captions not looking that good. Every so often they're inaccurate. They're also irreverent. Every so often using a small G for God. That's not me, that's the captions. That's the software. I don't have an editor. And so we just keep them there looking like that. Whatever. And then next thing, what's the next thing? Whatever, y'all, like, ish, as in, that's it. That's it. Yeah, makeup. I'm not wearing makeup. I don't know. I'm outgrowing the app for makeup. So, looks like I'm going back to my good old-fashioned days of makeupless videos. And guys, we'll see. Maybe when I'm feeling better, I'll bring back the makeup. The makeup is like a lost lover. I might bring it back. Just like men in the occult are always doing that. I'm exhausted. Let me tell you what horrific vision I had last night. Wasn't long. Relax. You don't need to clicker yourself and stand at the edge of your seat to hear. It's just really quite brief. So when I am, so every so often I listen to like Christian content, right? Quite a lot actually, not every so often. I listen to Christian content. I try like so I'll be like watching something on I'll watch like Netflix, right? And then I will, as I'm finishing doing my edits, watch some Christian content. And because I'm literally just like zonking away, I'll tell myself that I'll listen to the rest of this video lying down and just basically sleep from listening to it, right? Unfortunately for me, if I lie down, kind of over, you know, you can totally just dream on. I'm not coming back. Yeah, I've tried. It hasn't worked. It has eluded me. That whole lying down while listening to a sermon thing eluded me. So if I want to listen to someone give either a sermon or understanding as to what's going on in the world, I gotta be staying up. Otherwise I can just dream on about staying awake. But I'm nonetheless naive enough to sometimes try. You know what I mean? Anyway, yeah. Brain freeze. And there isn't even any ice cream in the room. But there is ice cream in the fridge. Maybe I should grab ice cream. Absolutely not. Not before eating dinner. Like, just because we're on a hiatus from working out doesn't mean we just need to like let go entirely, come back looking like a tire. I once knew somebody who said that during COVID-19 lockdowns, they gained 25 kilograms. All I could think was, you did that to yourself. Because the moment you noticed 7 kilograms on the scale, you were supposed to scale back. You didn't. How do you go past 7 kilograms? Like, yeah, 7 is the optimal number. Even God made that clear. So once you've gained 7 kilos, that's when you need to stop eating malva. That's when you need to cut on sugar. That's when you need to do one extra squat. Like, how you gonna let yourself gain 25 kilograms? Like, how does that even... Anyway, whatever. She did that. And I'm not even scared to highlight this as an issue for that chick because she betrayed me. So, obvious. She's the kind of person to let things go, including Jesus. So she let herself go because she let Christ go. 25 whole big ones without having an illness. You're not a diabetic, you You're not bound to a hospital bed because of a disease. You're just walking around your house getting 25 kilograms bigger. Just do you, girl. You are without excuse. Anyway, whatever. I'm not trying to mock, but I am. I'm bitter. I am bitter. Please, like, let's just put that out there. Everybody just keeps betraying me, so I'm gonna be below the belt sometimes. Like, yeah, just kind of mock you for gaining 25k. Like, please put that in a converter if you're from some other country and figure out how many pounds that is. Like, somebody done gained that during COVID. Girl, you should have stopped at 7 kilos. I'm just saying. Anyway, I guess let's just hope not to get to 7 kilos in weight gain, given that I'm just suffering like this. Anyway, whatever. Let's hope not to gain 25k. Because I've been eating so much dessert, it's not even funny. It's like I want to finish it so I can be at peace to not finish it. It's like it's there. We don't want it going off now, do we? So we're gonna gobble it, right? I'm sorry, have I lost you? It doesn't matter because my audience is in the tribulation and they go right out every word. Nobody cares. Let's go back to the point, okay? I forgot it. Oh goodness, like Lord. I forgot the point. Yo, some people might argue and say that, Gabo, you've let yourself go. Look at your hair. And I'm like, look at you being all left behind after the rapture. Beat that. I'm sorry, you guys are laughable. Anyway, I'm under attack. As you can see, this is what attack looks like. What was I talking about? Why? 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 That's you guys after the rapture has happened. Why me? Why me? Why me? After the rapture has happened, you're on your pity party. I'm sorry. Oh, pity party. Yeah. Look at how the tables have turned. I'm now happy. And you're the pity party, because that's how everybody's gonna be looking at your sad state. Don't nobody care. Get over it. Jesus left me. He's forsaken me. Why did he take them? What did I ever do? I thought I was special. Why? Oh goodness, I need to get back to the point. Demonic attack. It looks like this. I don't know what to do. I'm so tired of fighting all this witchcraft, all these death spells. Yeah, oh, I finally remembered what I was saying. My train of thought, it's back. Oh, thank you, God. Yeah. A dream. No, it wasn't a dream. I was in that mode where I was lying down, listening to something on YouTube. It was a commentary on singularity. Artificial intelligence singularity. It was being covered by a Christian man. It was Tom Hughes and Pete Garcia. Yeah, they were talking about singularity, about artificial intelligence, about America de-dollarizing. No, not America, sorry, the fall of the dollar and the rise of the antichrist system, something like that. And I was listening with concentration when I was busy doing my edits, and then my head was like, "Gah," right? And then I laid down, telling myself that there's only like 15 minutes left to listen, so I'll just listen to the rest of it and then retire, basically, you know, like sleep. And that's when I get, you know, lots and lots of understanding. Like when I'm in that mode, I already spoke about it the other day, in the mode between sleep and being awake. What? Something. How did I open this? Anyway, it was a mode between sleep and awakened state, and this zone over here, when I am under a lot of spiritual attack and the devil has decided to pounce on me like a beast and claw into my back and cause me to forget my dreams so I can know exactly what's targeting me, or the myriads of exactlys, because there's sometimes quite a lot going on all at the same time. The Lord uses this mode to show me that's why you're so bombarded today, girl. And I was only able to remember the dream when my ex-boyfriend was doing a strange thing, but no, when you foster, like forstiti, like ish, y'all, you know what, like I'm being abused, ish, but ish, as it is. Okay, let's just talk, alright? Yeah. So there's this thing that witches do, that when they discover, or even without discovering, but when they don't want to get caught, not that anybody wants to get caught, but there's the super careful, the just in casers, okay? The just in casers, they do a cloaking spell. I keep repeating myself, it's so boring. They do a cloaking spell to basically hide their faces so that you will not see them. Alright? However, whatever it is that the sorcery intends to achieve, that'll just continue doing its thing. Alright? So, when they do cloaking spells, sometimes you could forget the dream, like at all. Like completely, like the whole thing. You don't remember it. Or, their faces don't show in the dreams that you get given. Yeah. But if the Lord wants to explain something to you with clarity, wants you to see knowing that the devil is out just stealing some of your dreams, when you struggle to remember, you're like, go on your head, go on your head, go on your head. Yeah. The Lord will then find a way to let you know exactly what's going on. The cloaking spells are concealed sometimes in people's faces that you've known in the past, and they will have certain characteristics, these people, and that will be basically the description of how the Lord sees these people. And so to also help you understand how you ought to approach the matter, right? So I had some dreams last night that I was only able to remember fragments of during the day as it progressed. I'm like this because of all that demonic attack. And when I dreamt about those, when I had those dreams, the people in my dreams were from so long ago, and I so did not keep in touch with those people that there's no way that they would have cast spells on me. However, whatever it is that was the significant climate of emotion in my heart concerning those people at that time, that's what the Lord uses to help me understand what is being communicated here. What the witchcraft is intending to do, right? So as to not lend me to the inclination towards accusing those people of doing what they did, but rather take the climate of my relations with them at the time as the message. I'm gonna explain what I mean by that just now, chill. That's up. Ayo! People listening to me right now in the tribulation, so I don't even know why I'm trying to get people to like bear with me or whatever, because at that stage everybody will hang on to every word and listen 10 times just to get the point. Anyway, listen, there's not going to be the luxury anymore of being like, no, I'm just going to scroll past this YouTube channel. Why? Because so many people that you will have preferred listening to are still going to be chilling with you. I told you guys that you are going to be forced to listen to Garabo now because she's gone, and the only one that's gone in your whole ecosystem, everyone that you've ever known, is still hanging out with you. So you gonna hate their YouTube channels, and you are going to be forced to consume the content of people you couldn't stand because they're the only ones that left. So I don't got to beg nobody now. Anyway, let's just get straight to the point. That dream that I had, that I only saw like fragments of it, and I didn't talk about it yesterday. I only saw very vividly the one with my ex-boyfriend. That's why I rapped on about him yesterday. Yeah, well, the one that I had last night, the one that I couldn't remember properly, the Lord gave me the pretty much rest of the fragments of that dream in that mode that I was in while watching Tom Hughes and Pete Garcia. I was trying to stay awake. I was literally in bed, like flatter than what I am now. Like I was on the bed and I was looking up hoping to stay alive, but I was already kind of zonking out, you know. I was hoping to stay awake and to actually audibly hear what Tom Hughes was saying and co. But I sunk into sleep mode, that fuzzy region between awake and sleepy. Yeah, that mode, it comes on you, you guys know, before you sleep, right? And it also comes on you just as you're waking up. You're in the middle of worlds at this stage. You are slipping out of dream mode, or you're slipping into it. That season, that's the one that God uses to be. It's like a, how can I describe? It's like a rat trap. Thank you, son. She's like my analogies, eh? Yeah. It's like a rat trap. It's like a trap of what it is that what tried to escape you, to elude you. Whatever tried to elude you in your dream space. Like you dreamt about it, and as soon as you came out of sleep, the devil was like grapes, try to basically make you forget it. The Lord uses that season, for me anyway, might happen for you guys too, as a rat trap, because I am awake enough to remember everything, but I'm also still in sleep mode. So basically sleepy enough for me to get all that spiritual understanding given me, but without forgetting it. It's a rat trap. The Lord traps dreams that the devil could basically steal, or understanding that the devil could steal, in that space. He traps it in that space, and so I hear a lot, and I get given a lot of visions, dreams, like whatnot, in that little mode. It doesn't last long, you guys. It's like what, 10 seconds, 15 seconds? 15 is long. How long does it take for you to like slip? And just that mode where you're about to wake up, you know, that time today. Yeah, guys, it's not long, but the Lord uses it as a rat trap. It's rat poison. It kills some rats before they could escape. And those cloaking dreams, those not dreams, spells, those spells that are done in order to basically hide the face of the witch, or to make sure that you don't remember your dreams. The Lord uses this season to basically be like, this is it, get it, this is it, get it, run, go, catch it. And then God was like, oh. And then, hey guys, when you've been put in that mode, when you get given understanding in that little space, reaction, because it's like you're awake. Alright guys, your people are just evil. Oh goodness. It's like you're awake, and it's like you're in that space, actively experiencing that thing. Like being put inside an artificial intelligence virtual reality set where the stimuli coming at you, you can almost sense it, you can almost touch it. Like, you know those VR headsets where it is that you are actively interacting with some holograph, but it's not really there. To other people that are looking at you, you're just waving your hands in midair. But to you, you're actually interacting with something in the VR space. Yeah. You literally get given the kind of experience that you would get if you were wearing a virtual reality headset. So you taste things, you can touch things, you basically experience the intention in a very waking moment. in a way that is not the luxury you get when you're in a dream. I know there are dreams that feel very real, but when you wake up, it was a dream. You were in a spiritual state in a dream. But when you're awake and you are experiencing something and you touch it and you feel it and you taste it, that ain't no dream. You know, when you can actually smell whatever it is that ought be the scent that comes from that particular thing that you're interacting with, and the scent, when you wake up, it lingers on for like that 5 seconds brevity after you've completely snapped out of dream mode. So it's just crazy real what it is that you feel, and so the emotions of disgust are real. Let me give you an example. Never mind just disgust, but the feelings are real. Let me give you an example of one dream that I had that was just so, like, one such dream that was so incredibly demonic and potent that I had to jump out of bed because I thought there was something in my bed. I mean, poopa. I was in dream mode, fully immersed in it. But then in the dream, the dream was so horrible. I was being so afflicted in the nightmare that I basically realized in the dream that I was dreaming. And so I was forcing my body to wake up and get out of this nightmare. And so I willed myself in my dream to wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Ooh, guys, as in, just thinking about it makes me cringe. These things are real, y'all. Like, y'all can't ignore the spiritual space. It's a real thing, and if you don't have Jesus, you're in quite a lot of trash. In that dream, I even kept saying, leave me alone in the name of Jesus, and this thing wouldn't go. It's written in God's word that some demons only come out with fasting and prayer. So even if you cast them out in the name of Christ, if you're not fasting, it's not going to go anywhere. It's going to bug you until you enter into a fast. So I believe that was one of those where it is that you tell something to leave in the name of Christ and it won't leave you alone. That's what I was doing in my dream. And whew, guys, yeah, so I realized in that dream that I'm in dream mode. I then try to get myself out of a dream by saying wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, right? I finally then do, because I literally, I was pulling my body up from the pillow. Like, in the dream mode, I was pulling myself so as to sit in a 90-degree angle, and that's when I finally woke up. But oh, guys, when I finally opened my eyes, whatever was attacking me in my dream lingered for the next maybe 3 seconds, guys. It's like, oh, God have mercy, just thinking about it. I felt like a clawed hand was messing with my neck here at the back. It was just crawling on my neck at the back, and it did that for like 3 seconds, and I was like, and I jumped out of bed trying to see if there's something in my bed. It was all in a dream, but whatever it is that was holding me hostage in that dream didn't want to let me go, and it peeped out into waking space for 3 seconds and made me act like that, try and get something off me. And my sheets, I removed my bed linen to make sure that there's nothing there. Lento Lena, it crawled up and down on my neck for 3 seconds after I woke up. That's how sentient that waking up space and dream space is. It is so incredibly sentient that you feel whatever it is in the vision space, the spirit space, the dream space, you feel it in waking space. But like I said, it's brief. It lasts 3 seconds. 5 seconds is long. It doesn't last very long, but it stays on you for that brief season. So you feel things, you taste things, you smell things, briefly for that season, and those smells and those tastes it's like God is telling you what that thing feels and tastes like. So that you can have the right level of disgust if that's what needs to happen. Embark on the right level of avoidance if that's what's necessary. God is very full of protection. To basically just avoidance, okay? You don't, when you are dealing with Freddy Krueger, run to him, do you? No, you run from Freddy, okay, guys? Yeah, the Lord enables us to run from Freddy that way, because he not only helps you feel the scales on Freddy's hand, but his sharp claws and also his halitosis. You smell the breath of Freddy Krueger, and so you avoid it. And when in waking space a scent of that nature comes up, it becomes a cue, a reminder cue of something else that you saw, and it can bring to your memory the dream that you had. Something of that nature happened last night while I was trying to finish listening to Tom Hughes' and Pete Garcia, and wasn't able to because I was like, you know, zonking out entirely. And I entered for 5 seconds into that dream mode, and as I was about to completely zonk out, I quickly woke up because something hella disgusting. Oh, God have mercy. Wait a king, Baloi. You will get exposed, y'all. Y'all will get exposed. I'm just saying. Like, when you are not fit for a person, you're not fit for a person. Oh goodness, if you are not fit for a person, you're not fit for a person. Last night, as I lay in the middle there of this mode, I suddenly woke up on some literally like that. And after being like I still was hearing Tom Hughes and Pete Garcia going on my phone. And then I was like, goodness gracious God, how long am I gonna be going through this? I got out of that dream mode with a physical feeling that made me be like because I was suddenly thrust into a dream / vision in that little small space of dazed outness, of dizziness, of me tongue wrestling, essentially. It's oh goodness. With this, oh God have mercy. God have mercy. With this guy, oh Lord have mercy, from the US, you know, a magician's top hat. For years now, pretty much ever since the beginning of my spiritual gift, I've been getting shown a particular kind of male presence that must be avoided. It is always very sexually perverse. It is incredibly coercive, and it feels very much like a generational curse that pursues women in my family very forcibly, but in a way that doesn't show. And it's always wearing clothes like those of men in the 50s, 40s, you know, like debikey, brown, lots of brown, and, you know, non-fitted suits that with like strong collars that are big. Like basically a suit that, you know, it kind of hangs off. You know how grandfathers, they used to dress. Their suits were just big. I don't know. They never wore fitted suits for whatever reason. So it started in that time. And there's always a top hat. Like, it dops. This entity is always dressed like my grandfather, essentially. And it's got, like I said, a dops. And that whole outfit, it's always brown. Brownish types outfits, but sometimes it can be all black, the outfit. The entity behind that particular spirit is tall, however, and skinny. It's tall and skinny, but men who are basically fashioned in its image are their own size, but they dress like the entity. And the entity is, like I said, this tall, skinny, like an entity that's always dressed in a black suit with a bow tie and a top hat. And the men, like I said, who spurn from that entity are in their own size in waking life. And however, the outfits are not black. They are just like brown, like whatever it is that you would find those suits naturally being in waking life, those colors. But there's always a top hat, and that like I always know that is that perverse, coercive spirit, and it wants to marry me because it's been successfully marrying women in my family for years. Women in my family always marry very little men, and by little I mean little in every respect. Like they are bigger than their men in the worst way. Sometimes financially, but not always. In fact, yes. In fact, why am I using a euphemism? Why am I trying to belittle what I see? Our men, we grow. We might meet them barely financially stronger than us, but we always zoom past them. So they barely ever are able to provide. That's the first thing. And they are these namby-pamby children that you must always follow around because they just don't know what under heaven they need to do to live. We then take them on board, much like Oedipus's mom being with her son Oedipus. We raise them as children, trying to make them men, and in that process find ourselves exorbitantly frustrated by these men to a point of leaving now. And when we leave, they hold us hostage with darkness because they will never find anything better. So after women in my family get divorced, They literally never marry again. And not that remarriage is okay, but for secular folk, people who don't believe in Christ and so therefore aren't convicted by his laws, just remarry. These women get divorced young enough to remarry and are often beautiful enough too. My mom, for instance, was only 32 or 31 when she got divorced from my dad. Yeah, they tend to still be viable, beautiful, and therefore marriable still. However, after they divorce these men, they run into what is the tantamount or equivalent of bad luck in romance, where they are inevitably almost always thrust into relationships with married men. Like, they become first wives, right? And then later on mistresses. Like clockwork, it's how it works with women in my family. Like clockwork. Like clockwork. Literally like clockwork. First they are wives, and then they get divorced, and then they become mistresses. And the men that they are mistresses to tend to be more powerful than their ex-husbands. They tend to have a little bit more clout in society. They're a lot more reasonable, a lot more, like rational. They are responsible. Whatever responsible means, because if you're cheating on your wife, you're not responsible. But basically, they make for better men in the women in my family's lives than what it is that basically the baby daddies and ex-husbands were. And that's what makes these women linger on them. They are manlier men than their ex-husbands were. And it's been a trap in my family for a minute, like generations, I would go so far as to say that. And it's literally pursuing me. And it's been pursuing me since I was in my 20s. It's been pursuing me since I was really young. That's why last night I had a dream of basically getting a divorce from my ex-boyfriend. The same one that I lamented about. Pipsqueak. That's the inevitability of women in my family. First, they marry when they are at the height of their youth, in their prime, pipsqueak men that are very frustrating, that these women take on board as projects, like they panel beat them into shape. Like a written off car in a scrapyard and make it move. They imagine that they can buy parts and all different kinds of things and make this man what it is that they need. And they imagine as women that insofar as they can have, they will have been that for these men. These men will forever be indebted to them. They will forever be grateful for how, if it wasn't for my wife, I wouldn't have gotten where I got. I wouldn't have become the man that I became. And so once he has made his millions, because she saw potential in him, she's then going to be the pampered wife. That's always the dumb ideology chilling in the minds of women in my family. They see potential in deadbeats. Deadbeats, do you understand? That never get their act together. And however, they romanticize things so much. So women in my family essentially have settled, and they've had a history of being with men that, like I said, had less than them. Sometimes they didn't drive. My ex-boyfriend, I taught how to drive. They just did not have that which a lot of men tend to get nowhere with other women when they lack it. And yet we gave these shoddy deadbeats a chance and allowed ourselves to be dragged in socioeconomic situations that were, what's the word that I'm looking for, uncharacteristic of what it is that even we grew up in. So your mom and dad gave you a home where in your bedroom you had like your own bathroom. It was an ensuite bedroom. But you're prepared to downsize yourself for a man who does not know that kind of life, because the two of y'all apparently are going to build stuff together. And in the relationship, they keep trying to build them up to the level where they ought to get. And these men are slow like a tortoise, a snail, a turtle. Pick your animal, a sloth. They are slow and very exasperating. And so by the time divorces happen or breakups, they are messy, because this woman has been reduced to a bickering fool that is contentious, that just can't get this man to do what she wants him to do. And this guy is fed up of listening to her because he doesn't want to move his buttock. It's written in God's word that a sloth is so lazy that he will not even bring food to his mouth to eat after putting his hand in a plate to grab it. These men are that slothful thing. They are so lazy that you will, these women in my family, including myself, I've had a history of this. They will basically arrange things in the ecosystem of this man so as to make him merely glide into his future. They will do everything for him. 1 minute. They will do everything for this guy. And this guy, despite the fact that his shoes have been put on the floor, the left one on the left, the right one on the right, this guy will still insist on getting out of bed, and instead of slipping into his shoes that you've put right there for him to walk in, he will then make a decision to walk barefoot for 2 kilometers, have blisters on his feet, and then lie on the road refusing to even call an ambulance that he might at least get like patched up, bandaged, so that he can recover and then maybe go back and, wear some shoes next time. Like, he will just lie there, even getting bed bugs and stuff from just lying in one position. And because of the position that he finds himself now out there, the woman will then be the one to rock up with a first aid kit and bandage his soles, his feet, and grab a wheelbarrow and carry a man and put him in a wheelbarrow and then wheelbarrow him home, nurse him in bed while he recovers, and then this time around puts arrows on furniture to show him what direction to walk to find the shoes that he might walk into, and then be there to monitor this time around that he actually walks in his shoes. And then this guy will still insist on walking 1 kilometer barefoot again. And it is the frustration of observing this activity for what is the equivalent of literally years that ultimately caused the women to be like, no, I'm sorry, I'm leaving, and will have also caused so many fights in the relationship that the woman will have eventually, even though that was not her intention, she will then have eventually emasculated the man. In other words, spoken about him as this namby-pamby, slothful, useless boy that's not doing what he's supposed to as a man. When you start to compare your boyfriend to all the other guys in the room, and you're like, even your friends are doing better than you. And that's not the kind of thing that a woman should be saying to a man, but you put yourself in a position to discourage a man and emasculate him like that when you keep on thinking you can panel beat a bugger into shape. Like, if he doesn't come ready-made or at least self-motivated and is driving himself to achieve his own goals, never mind with your motivation in the back end, if he's not self-motivated, you're gonna find yourself divorcing a man that was already very frustrating to you before you got married. But you were with this pie-in-the-sky dream as a woman, telling yourself that I was there for him from the very get-go. I was ride or die from the very get-go, and men always appreciate women that have always been there when it was hard. It's not the same thing being a helper suitable to a man that's actually soaring like a bird, or at least trying to walk like a newborn baby out of the pouch of a kangaroo. Not a pouch, sorry, out of like a brand new baby kangaroo. Wobbly legged initially until it can finally walk. Yeah, it's different when a man is wobbly legged and then he can walk because he's actually trying. But when he just lies there after being born and he doesn't even try, that's not the same thing. So while I have mad respect for ride or die women to men who actually are striving to get somewhere in life, I have no respect for women that are ride or die to sloths, to bums. And in my family, that's like a whole challenge. The women in my family are ride or die to seat reclined men all day, just smoking a cigar. They absolutely enjoy dimedi that are that ride or die. They merely enjoy girlfriends that are that loyal, but in the enjoyment are just, at a party and not so much at work. They're at play and not at work. They're not striving to do better. I was pursued by that, predictably, as a member of my family. Yeah, from the time I was just a kid. All my boyfriends, without even an exception, never komba, 2 series, could not understand what their jobs were. There was only one boyfriend that I had that I knew for a career. Everybody else, it was sketchy information that I did not quite understand, and I still stayed with them. Yeah. And the person that actually had a job was the last boyfriend I ever had. Not over 5 years, wing. And he stayed stranded in that job for 10,000 years before I finally managed to squeeze him as like toothpaste out of a tube, out of that space. It was exorbitantly frustrating, and it eventually graduated me to a point of emasculation, where I was now talking to him like he ain't Jack. when I never wanted to do that. But frustration grew. Fangs on my skull, singing horns on my skull and fangs in my teeth. And so therefore I became a woman that I frankly was not supposed to end up as. That's what's up. And the females, the other boyfriends that I had, except for perhaps my first love, right? But I was with him at the age of I was like 16 and he was 18. So I would never really have known where he was going to end up. We were both in school, and then he first year, the higher learning institution after matriculating. There's no way that I could have known where he was going in life, but he was not a bum. The rest, however, that came after that guy were bums, entire bums, and I met them as bums, and I thought I could improve the bum state. It never really happened. So essentially what was going to ultimately happen with me, if I did not give my precious life to Jesus Christ, I was going to make like my cousins, my aunts, the predictable females in my family, and marry the bum that I had been most successful in moving just 1 inch in the right direction, even though I worked on that 1 inch over 5 years. Yeah. I was gonna marry my ex. I was gonna let him propose marriage to me, and I was going to inevitably, just as my mom divorced my dad, just as many of my cousins are about to enter into divorces, just as my aunt divorced my uncle, just as, yeah, you get my point. I was going to inevitably get a divorce, but I was also, prior to that divorce, inevitably marry a man that was not in my league, a man to whom I was more like a mother instead of a lover. I was gonna marry a man that was gonna frustrate the living daylights out of me, that was gonna make me covet women with stronger husbands, with stronger men, and it would have been that covetousness that would have then driven me to a divorce out of frustration with what I would have ultimately imagined to be the wrong decision that I made to marry him. I would have walked down the aisle disquieted by way too much in my man. I would have nonetheless walked down the aisle and told myself no one is perfect, and so we'll work on this in time. And seeing as we're married now, we've got all the time in the world. Except he was going to be even more lethargic, slovenly in the marriage. And so it was going to lead me to filing for divorce. I was going to get divorced from my ex. It was inevitable, because that's just what happens with women in my family. They marry lovers that they were with for very many years that have been frustrating for them. And at the date of marriage even, the guys are not able to fully take care of a family because the woman is carrying so much of the weight of the whole thing, and they still marry them. I'm sorry, females. The Lord has made Eve for Adam and not Adam for Eve. So you don't get to build a man in your own image. A man is the one that should lift you up. He's the provider, he's the protector largely, and you are a helper suitable. You are secondary, he is primary. And so when you put yourself in a position to be primary, you are not only going to be met with the issue of Adam not quite being where he needs to be in life, but he will have a passive aggression about your attempt to bring him to where you want him to be, because inherently he understands that he's supposed to lead, and yet you're leading. That will make him not only passive aggressive, but deliberately make a decision to not listen to what you have to say, because man has been made to lead women and not the other way around. And also the Lord did say upon Adam and Eve falling that the judgment on Adam would be to try and rule his wife, to basically lord it over her with an iron fist. So leadership, headship, sometimes even to the point of being a despot, is just a thing inside Adam, meaning that being ruled by a woman will always come highly unacceptable to any society of men. And him also having a caucus of friends telling him stuff is also going to exacerbate what he imagines to be his emasculated state. And so the more you try to raise issues, the more recalcitrant he will become to your voice of reason. So unless you find them ready-made, women, I can't say that enough, you're wasting time. Do not put yourself at the threshing floor of a man that is too lowly for you. Do not put yourself at the threshing floor of a man who is not self-motivated above your voice. Because if at all he does not feel just aided along by your presence, but rather pushed by your presence, or coerced by your presence, thrust forward by your presence, he will ultimately resist that. And so you're going to find yourself in Jafela Oporegile, and if you get divorced, Well, I mean, you can't remarry unless he dies. That's the thing. I'm here to be a gospel servant. I'm nothing but. And so therefore, divorce and remarriage will always be wrong. And so you can't remarry. And neither can you just merely have sex with anyone out here in these streets before marriage, because then that's adultery. And that's exactly what it is that my family members have done all this time. The devil is really smart. He knows how to deceive, okay? He knows how to get an otherwise good girl by the standards of this world to be an otherwise typically bad girl again by the standards of this world. He knows how to go and grab a wife and make her a mistress. He knows how, over the course of a woman's life, to convert that woman from the girl next door to the girl to avoid from next door. He's really good. We must give him a round of applause, this Lucifer, because he's literally got us wrapped around his finger. Did you have to let it linger? Did you have to? Did you have to? Did you have to let him linger? He knows how to wrap us around his little finger from the moment we come out of our mother's wombs, and the moment he has set forth the baseline, he just lets the rest outwork itself. So what's important is to first peg in a generational curse, and once that's in, I mean, the little girls will follow suit in Jeffela in due season. So too will the little boys. And if the little girls and boys follow suit in the generational curse, they will just be left alone to continue to self-destruct. But if they dare make like Garabo and, I don't know, give their lives to Jesus, what are you doing? That's how the devil looks at you. Nah. And so he starts to sing, we ain't going nowhere, we ain't going nowhere. And with him wanting to lodge there, he will then cause persecution of your person by everyone that's still swimming gladly in the curse. And so they will deliberately try to block you from breaking past the curse, and that's exactly what's going on with my family right now. They're stuck in a trashy curse of being wives and then mistresses, and I am out here striving to be just a wife, and they are out here blocking the living crap out of it. My mom actually put a spell on me to not get married. Why? Because I turned to Jesus. If I hadn't turned to Christ, my mom wouldn't have done that. Why? Because she wouldn't have been given an urge by the devil to do that. What kind of a woman does not want her own daughter getting married? Yeah, one that is sitting in a generational curse that the daughter stands to break. That's what. Well, I mean, my mom is not the only one. So too did a whole bunch of my cousins come against my marriage prospects, aunts, and then of course friends who also are suffering from a similar generational curse to mine. So when it comes to the kinds of men that I've been drawn to, or that have also been drawn to me, it has always been pipsqueaks. In other words, men that were too small for me. They were never smart enough for me. They were never with earning potential big enough like mine. They never liked school. That's just a thing as well. That was challenging for me. I am an academic, even though people have kicked me out of the annals of universities. I would have if at all I was not met with a whole bunch of sorrow, inevitably ended up a lecturer or something at a university part-time while running a business. I'm an academic at heart, and it will always stay that way for me, right? So for the kind of academic that I am, it's kind of disappointing that I've only ever been with guys like pipsqueaks, I told you, right? Yeah, men that also were happy to just kind of hang around swinging as on a hammock in one job for like years, without even trying to get out, without even trying to build themselves up. Yeah, such that, like, having met him earning perhaps 3,000 rands less than him, within 2 years you are earning 10,000 rands more than him. That's what under heaven it is that happened to me, and that's also under heaven what it is that keeps happening to women in my family. They meet men that are earning slightly more than them, and then in just a matter of months, weeks, maybe, a year or two, yeah, these women have caught up and maybe even proceeded past them. And as the years progress, the woman then becomes the primary breadwinner. Stay-at-home husband, rubbish, much, whatever, modern society, it can never work. For reasons I've highlighted above, it is not inbuilt in men to take in their stride being ruled by women. And yeah, not the other way around. It is Adam's curse to rule women. He will want to be a despot, a sovereign over her. And so if you imagine that you can socially condition a man by bringing him into 2023 in this progressive society to embrace being a stay-at-home dad, you're basically waiting for a murder-suicide gawking at you right there, where a man will eventually become so embittered, become like a whole flagrant alcoholic that'll then kill a wife, all the kids, and then himself, because the woman was working and successfully bringing bread home while the dude was out here mopping some floors. The stay-at-home husband phenomenon is not feasible. It is not workable. And while some people don't end up murdering their wives, there will always be a passive aggression. And on top of that, the larger majority of the earth involved in that situation ends up in tragedy. It's that basic. There are way too many stories that we can all go back to read of this nature for us to continue to easily, lackadaisically swinging on a hammock, embrace in our stride. Such couplings as those, while so many women are dropping dead, while gender-based violence is increasing at such an astronomical rate. You need to look at all of these Oedipal households where women are like mothers to men, and so therefore men end up killing women because it is always going to be their thing, their calling, their beastly, almost animalistic anointing to rule women. And if they don't rule them, they're gonna want to do it forcibly, and so for those reasons they might just kill some mothers with their children and then themselves. I don't know how many times I can say that, but all of these explanations that I keep on reiterating on the rooftops, there would not be a necessity for me to raise them, highlight them over and over again. If at all I did not keep on getting harassed by a despot of this nature that thinks he can be with a woman so much smarter than him, a woman that has got so much more earning potential than him, a woman that is so much more learned than him, knowledgeable than him, wiser than him, a woman so much girthier than him, so much godlier, a woman that just has so much more going for herself than him, with such a clean bill of health and the slate that she has. How a man imagines so naively as he is sitting in America that he can ever one day end up with that woman and, just kind of sit still and be content without driving a live round into her head and the heads of her children and then into his mouth, purely because she eventually conquered him to a point of being a beastly queen in the presence of a peasant that she insisted on marrying because he was reformed or something. Y'all need to know how to self-protect that you might not self-destruct. Self-preservation is like a whole thing at this point. You need to protect oneself, okay? And if you don't want to do that, understand, and I'm just going to keep on rapping on about the challenges I am encountered by every single day until we go home, so you can understand why the Lord burned this whole house down, decimated its entire periphery. Yeah, because you literally tried to break that which was not broken. You tried to fix that which was not broken. It ain't broke, so don't fix it. God's rules, God's laws, his patriarchal order for society was not broken, but you try to fix it. Women, you insisted on being with men who earn less than you. Women, you insisted on being with men who are lesser than you, unintelligent in comparison to you. Men who are basically Neanderthals, who should be with other Neanderthal women, because then that's a perfect pairing. You insisted on raising them up to your level, and so therefore, chaos ensued in all of society, causing a whole bunch of angry women that ended up married to some pretty treacherous men, and so therefore they're now unsupportive towards other women, taking away from society therefore the nurturing spirit of women. And when you take that away, mixing it with an increasing violence in men, you just have anarchy. And seeing as you have created anarchy on the planet, we then on that day gotta be vacuumed out, don't we? You insisted on this whole issue with Oedipus in your households. You insisted that it is okay for women to go and grab children and make them boyfriends after they get divorced from men. Yeah, like all these millennial women out here dating Gen Zs because you think it's fashionable and popular. They're still too little too young to be your husbands or your boyfriends. You don't get to rejuvenate yourself like Stella, seeing as you're trying to get your groove back with a Gen Z and then not proliferate violence against women. You must understand the order was not broken. We need older men that are wiser, like Ruth and Boaz. We are in dire need as women of stronger men, thicker in their physical girth and financially and in all other regards. If a man cannot comprehensively take care of you the way that your mom and your dad would have taken care of you, you have no business leaving your mother's and father's house to be with him. Stop dating Cz'f just because somebody is adorable. High school students, y'all need to wait until you are all at an age where a woman can now feasibly gauge. That's why I wasn't able to figure out what was going on with my first love, because he was 18 and I was 16. Until you can feasibly gauge if this guy can take care of you, don't date. So the best time to actually start seeing if at all you can peruse the market that you might ultimately be courted is perhaps university. Perhaps, you know, a couple of years just out of university. In the run up to you gotta stay single. Is that basic? Because if you cannot gauge if a man is going to be able to take care of you, you have no business hovering around in his ecosystem, because once he has clutched you, once he has put you in his presence for even if it's just 5 seconds, he's going to feel possessive over you, entitled. And when then you start to fly like a bird version, become really big, fat, chunky, and this guy kind of stays in his littleness, yeah, he's then going to reel you in, hook you down, proper kapafa. He's going to go and reel you in and hook you down, kanaleti, kastunya. Anything. He is going to try and bring you down to his level. So when you date in high school, you don't know if little Tom or little John is going to become big Tom or big John. And so because you don't know that, do not date him until he is big Tom or big John, because only big John can take care of you, not little John. So stop dating in high school. Like, I can't say that enough. Stop dating in first year varsity. Wait until you can gauge the prospects of a man being in your league rightly, so that you don't win for yourself a whole pest, a stalker that has just tasted you. That fella licked you once. You've made out. You've done all these things. Yeah. The moment he tastes you, he's going to feel possessive over you. And so if you grow and thrive and dare imagine yourself as one that's going to get her own man now, some other dude, he's going to be like, not on my watch. Not on my watch. They properly say not on my watch. So the best way to protect yourself is to just turn down everybody that asks you out in high school, so they never get to taste what your tongue tastes like. And then go on right ahead and only be with the guy that's going to be your husband. That significantly minimizes how many men are going to throw witchcraft spells at you or at your marriage. How many men are going to insist that you don't go anywhere in life. Yes, of course. There are crazy men out there that'll bewitch you, having never been with you, having never even pursued you. I've got enough of those in my life, but I promise you my life would be a lot easier if it was just them. If it was just a psychopath from a distance, looking at me, literally just kind of hovering over my windows, blowing into them, and spelling my name while I sleep. If only I had those little creeps, I'd be better off. I would. But instead, I've got creeps that also were my boyfriends. I dated them. They tasted me. And so for those reasons, they feel entitled to me. Went on, same guys, to marry some other women while leaving me destitute. Wait again. When I leave the problems, there's issues with that whole system that you think is broken. And so because of the fact that you think the system was broken that Christ created, you've destroyed the earth. Look at that. It's like this burns everywhere. Fields are smoking because lifidile, with your intention to basically flip a model that the Lord perfectly created. You were like, no thanks, I'm gonna do it this way. And so because you wanted to do it this way, look at the world. Look at how I'm being pursued by Seboto that's been in and out of prison because I thought I could fix a man. Let's move to the next part. Of course, you guys know I'm thick with explanations, so I can't all fit it in an hour.